after the lost Liberal decade by Justin Trudeau and company, our military is gutted and Canada has been left weaker, poorer, and defenseless. For 10 years, these Liberals failed to take our national defence and security seriously, instead relying on our allies to defend Canada's sovereignty. The Canadian Armed Forces is facing a devastating recruitment crisis and does not have enough soldiers, sailors, and aircrew. And only half of our military equipment is serviceable. Why should Canadians believe this Prime Minister will fix what his Liberals have already broken?
And that's a phenomenal question.
The Honourable Minister
Why should we
for
believe
Veterans
it?
Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, today is a good day for Canada.
You are not a military representative.
This morning,
MP.
the Prime Minister announced a $9.3 billion investment in Canada's defence, which means we will achieve NATO's 2% target this fiscal year.
Minister of Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence.
Investment in defence since the end of the Second World War. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you on this side of the House, we're thankful to those who serve, past and present.
But who's this John Lennon guy at the top right? You see that?
Interlake Eastman.
It's all talk, but where's the actual
Mr. Speaker,
proof?
nobody believes them. After 10 years of these Liberals, our warships are rusting out, our fighter jets are worn out, and our troops are burnt out. Today, the Canadian Armed Forces is short 13,000 troops due to those Liberals' recruitment and retention crisis. An additional 10,000 personnel are undertrained and undeployable. Over the past decade, the Liberals lapsed $12 billion in defence spending and cut $2.7 billion over the last year from the military. Why would our troops leave anything this Liberal government says, since the Liberals are responsible for breaking our military?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. If it happens, it's good.
Mr. Speaker,
But if
as
not,
I said, today
it's
is
just
a
like
great
Trudeau.
day for Canada, for our allies and our partners around the world are watching. I find it surprising that the Conservatives want to talk about supporting and equipping forces when they're the ones who cut Canada's defence spending to below 1%. Rebuild and bolster our armed forces and our defence industrial capacity. We will ensure Canada remains strong, sovereign, and secure.
The Liberals are hiding the state of Canada's finances from Canadians. The so-called brilliant banker who said his strength was planning isn't planning on actually producing a budget for Canadians. Meanwhile, 1 million Ontarians used a food bank last year, a terrible new record, and unemployment in the GTA has now surged to almost 9%. Guess what? No budget. How bad are the state of Canada's finances that the so-called brilliant planner isn't planning to produce a budget for Canadians?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Mr. Speaker, we increased CCB, we delivered $10 a day daycare, we put in place a national school food program, federal minimum wage was increased, dental care, farmer care, all of these programs have reduced child poverty by 38% since 2015, seniors poverty down by 30% since 2015. All these things the Conservatives have voted against.
The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
We voted against all the policies that led to 1 million Ontarians using a food bank. They should all be ashamed of themselves that that's their performance. Meanwhile, TD Bank has now said up to 100,000 Canadians will lose their job this year. And guess what? They refuse to produce a budget. 20% bankruptcies in Canada have surged 20%. Guess what? They're not going to produce a budget. I ask again, what is so terrible about the state of Canada's finances that the so-called brilliant planner is refusing to produce a budget for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister
I mean,
of
we
Labour.
absolutely need and deserve a budget.
Mr. Speaker,
Without a
I'm
doubt.
pleased to talk about this list again because I think it's so important. We increased the CCB, delivered $10 daycare, put in place a national school food program, federal minimum wage has been increased, dental care, pharmacare, all of these programs have reduced poverty in all age groups. These are the things that Conservatives voted against.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Centre.
Well, that's a record stuck on skip, Mr. Speaker. But Canadians are now facing the consequences of this Liberal government's economic drift. Oxford Economics says that Canada is heading into a recession with 200,000 more job losses and unemployment reaching 7.7% this year. Full-time workers are turning to food banks in record numbers, and mortgage defaults are rising. Meanwhile, the Liberal government wants to spend a record $500 billion with no plan. Will the Prime Minister show some accountability to the Canadians who are going to be losing their jobs and do his job and table a budget?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, a tax cut for 22 million Canadians is exactly the kind of relief that Canadians are looking for, on top of all the programs and supports for Canadians, whether they have children, whether they're seniors in low income. We expect then, with all of this concern, that we'll see support from the Conservative Party and things like our One Canadian Economy Bill, Mr. Speaker, which is going to even further enhance opportunities for Canadians to have well-paying jobs all across the country.
Mr. Speaker, after 10 years of these Liberals, our fighter jets are worn out, our warships are rusting, our troops are exhausted. We're missing 13,000 troops. Recruitment and morale has never been lower. Over the last Liberal decades, the Liberals cut $12 billion in defense spending and cut the budget. Our forces have been abandoned. Mr. Speaker, how can a government who is responsible for this fiasco claim to be unaware of this fiasco and claim to fix it? The Honourable Minister of Industry. The Canadian Armed Forces were abandoned by the Conservatives, but certainly not by this government. Today, we are announcing investments that are historic for our defence. We will build ships in Canada. Planes in Canada. We'll be creating jobs here in Canada. We'll be creating jobs in Quebec and across the country, and we will protect our sovereignty.
Oh, God, that's so funny.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Hyacinthe-Bagot-Acton.
Where did you even
Speaker, Ottawa's
get
just
that?
announced $9 billion in new defence spending
A
for this
freaking
year.
surplus store?
In the current global context, the Bloc Québécois agrees that we need to invest in defence.
Oh,
but
man.
that's $9 billion more. Thank you. Could applaud as well. That's $9 billion more that the Liberals are asking us to approve blindly without a budget or even an economic update.
So much that we couldn't hear.
Nobody will know how this money is going to be financed, nor how big
so
the deficit is going to be when we're expected to vote on these measures. Can the Liberals finally be responsible enough to show us what the books look like? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation.
Like
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
degrees in
And I would
Ottawa?
like to say that I'm very happy that the Bloc Québécois is in agreement with our plan to rearm the Canadian Armed Forces, that they agree with the historic investments today, that they agree that we should meet our NATO commitment of 2%. This extra spending that's necessary to defend Canada's sovereignty and protect Canada. I thank the Bloc for agreeing with this ambitious plan for the country. And I would also like to note that on the weekend, we were at the Davie Shipyards, which celebrated its 200th anniversary, which is contributing to Canada's sovereignty by building excellent warships here in Quebec. The Honourable Member for Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, the $9 billion in defense spending announced today adds to $26 billion over 5 years in tax cuts. You can add $4 billion for the GST exemption for new homes. That's on top of $38 billion in the main estimates. And that's all of that together more than the entire healthcare system budget for Quebec. The Liberals are asking us to support all this without putting forward a budget. Mr. Speaker, it's completely irresponsible. Why is the government doing everything it can to hide the real state of public finances? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, I think that all the colleagues here in this House of Commons saw a historic minute a few years ago. We heard that the Bloc Québécois wants to build a strong Canada. It's a historic moment for all parliamentarians. We agree with the Bloc because we've made a generational investment in our defence, Mr. Speaker.
Well,
a major investment in our
our
industry, as the Minister of Industry just said. It's a major investment in our workers. It's employees at Bombardier, at Davie, elsewhere, who are thrilled because Canada is investing in its sovereignty and in its industrial base.